He could be serving life sentence in prison without possibility of release with parole. It's pretty serious. It's pretty damn serious. Front page, CNBC, FTX founder arrested in the Bahamas after U.S. files criminal charges. So right now, we know he's still in the Bahamas. The authorities in Bahamas said they will be working with the U.S. and they will be extraditing him. But in the meantime, they will still continue to investigate on their end. But right now, they're fully complying. And they said they did this on the behalf of the U.S. and the Justice Department. So everyone's, of course, been complaining about how SBF, after this whole collapse, is still enjoying himself inside his $45 million mansion this whole time and still tweeting away, right? People have been wondering, why has he not been arrested, right? Finally, it's happening. And what are they charging him for? A lot, including wire fraud conspiracy, securities fraud conspiracy, and money laundering. Okay, some serious charges. And what's the tweet I want to get to? Yeah, this one right here. If he's convicted, okay, of wire or bank fraud, he could be serving life sentence in prison without possibility of release with parole. It's pretty serious. It's pretty damn serious, right? So he's facing some serious stuff. Now, here's the official letter that was released, right, stating that the Office of the Attorney General of the Bahamas is announcing the arrest by the Royal Bahama Police Force of Sam Bankman-Frieds, right? SBF's arrest follows receipt of formal notification from the United States that has filed criminal charges against SBF and is likely to request his extradition, right? So at the time of such formal request for extradition is made, Bahamas intends to process it promptly, right? So they will be complying. So it's all good. And the District Attorney of New York, right, Damian Williams, also announced this. So this has happened. Okay, finally, it has happened. Now, also, I don't know who actually found this. Supposedly, there was an inner circle group chat called Wire Fraud. Okay, it just sounds too ridiculous to be true. But this also came out today, how SBF, Caroline, his cronies, Gary Wang, and others, they were in this group chat that talked about how they could break other people's platforms and basically a whole lot of legal stuff. Now, of course, SBF, before he got arrested, he tweeted us out that this is not true. I was not a member of that circle, right? I'm quite sure it's false. I never heard of such a group. I mean, are you kidding? The group, of course, would be something that he's aware of, right? Because he is probably the person that started it. So this whole thing of acting dumb, like, oh, I've never heard of it. It could be there, but I don't know about it. Okay, well, that is going away, obviously, right? Now, there is one theory. There's one theory why this is happening today of all days, right? And Dave Portnoy actually called it out. Wait, does SBF arrest mean he suddenly doesn't have to testify tomorrow? Could it be true? That is shady as F, right? That's the thing. He was set to testify tomorrow in front of the House committee on FTX, right? And all of a sudden, this arrest request comes in today, a day before that. So maybe some people are afraid that he may finally just spill his guts and reveal a lot more than he has been telling, which may be the reason why he agreed to testify in the first place. Because at first he's like, I'm not doing it, and then all of a sudden he changed his mind, right? So some people are wondering, is it just because they want to shut him up at this point, right? We don't know. We don't know, but it is the timing of it, right? Does seem a little curious. A day before he's set to testify in front of the House committee. Makes you wonder. All right, so this is obviously the biggest news of today in the crypto space, right? Everyone's been waiting for this to happen. People are still waiting for this to happen to Do Kwon and Zhu Su of CryptosRUs and possibly everyone else, right? But what's going on with Do Kwon, I revealed this morning. Supposedly he escaped to Siberia. Zhu Su, he escaped. I don't know where he is. Like, all these guys are on the run, right? But SBF is the only one that couldn't run. that got locked in his room in his mansion, and now he is arrested and will be facing charges in the near future, right? So we'll see what else develops. Of course, the new CEO is still stating that there's a whole bunch of shady things that's happening. I wonder if I closed it. But yeah, he was talking about, I think I accidentally closed it. But he was talking about, of course, all the stuff that he has found, right? Commingling user funds, providing crazy loans to the founders, also spending crazy amount of money in 2021 on projects that are now worth nothing. So, that $8 million that gone missing could just be because Alameda Research was just so bad at investing, and that is why it just went missing, and then they tried to patch it up with customer funds and a whole lot of stuff, right? So, all right. So want to lead off with that, and I'll let you guys know as this develops, but as of right now, he has been detained, sitting in a jail cell, not his $45 million mansion. Okay, so there's that. Federal prosecutor in the South District of New York unsealed charges against disgraced FTX co-founder, charging him with conspiracy to commit wire fraud, security fraud, standalone charges of security fraud, wire fraud, money laundering, and significantly conspiracy to defraud the United States and campaign finance regulators. Ooh, that's new. Ooh. Because yesterday it was just like security fraud, wire fraud, money laundering, and conspiracy to commit it. But now they're adding in conspiracy to defraud the United States and campaign finance regulations. Wow. You know what? Gary Gensler better watch out, because he was the one that was working with SBF, trying to get in the good graces of CFTC and trying to cater to FTX, coming out with better, bypassing certain steps, making it more favorable for them to operate, So this is looking at this. Then this is also looking at all the money, where it went, including some of the political donations and who received, and it's all coming out. It's all coming out. I didn't want to show you guys this. This is Nansen that's tracking Binance's total assets, $59,649,000,000. A little bit lower than last night. I did show this last night, but this is still more than 10x of everyone else. In fact, Binance holds more assets than all other exchanges combined. Okay, Binance is way more than anyone else. Coinbase said they have about 5 billion. Crypto.com, I looked at it, was 3.5. I think KuCoin was 2.5, right? And these are the biggest guys. So as for the withdrawals, perfectly normal at this point, okay? But I've been saying, if you guys are scared of Binance or Coinbase or any exchange out there, right? Safeguard your own crypto. Nothing wrong with that. Put your crypto in a ledger, right? Learn how to use it and be done with it, right? So you safeguard your own money. You don't have to worry about anything else, any other contagion that spreads. But as of right now, I think Binance is doing just fine. And there is a coordinated attack, once again, on crypto as a whole, okay? Not just Binance, although they're the easy target because they are the biggest. Now, there is more FUD besides this, not just about Binance. So the group that was tasked to look at the proof of reserves for the major exchanges out there, including Binance, Crypto.com, and KuCoin, Mazars Group suspended all work, and then all the documents that they produced saying that, yeah, they audited, the proof of reserves is good. All these exchanges are either one-to-one or over-collateralized, right? They removed all those reports. They just suddenly removed them, so you can't access them anymore. And then they're quiet on Twitter. They didn't explain why. All of a sudden, they're like, no, we're gone, right? So out of all the times, right, this is probably the worst time for this to be happening, because there's a lot of fear right now, a lot of FUD being spread, especially on Binance right now. But just weeks before it was KuCoin.com, and weeks before that it was KuCoin, right? So this could not have come at a worse time. But here's why I think they did it, okay? I saw this headline too, and I'm pretty sure this is the reason why. FTX, their previous auditors, right, is now facing some scrutiny. Auditors that supposedly audited FTX balance sheet, they're being sued and being looked at by the regulators. So I'm assuming that this group, Mazars, is probably fearing the same thing. Fearing that maybe in the future, if something happens with one of these three exchanges, we're going to be held liable, and we don't want to be held liable. So that's probably why they pulled out. But they should have thought about this ahead of time, right? If you knew that you were going to get some scrutiny over this, you should have never agreed to do the work in the first place. And I will say this, Brian Armstrong also pointed this out, right? Saying that Coinbase, right, is being audited by one of the top 4 accounting firms. I think it's Deloitte right now, okay? So Brian Armstrong's like, yeah, you know what? While all these other exchanges are being audited by someone overseas that we don't quite know who they are, we are being looked at by the top 4, big accounting firms, right? So you got to give Brian Armstrong and Coinbase that, right? So they decided to make the right decision. And I do think all these exchanges, especially Binance right now, needs to hire one of these big 4 auditing firms. They need to pay some big bucks to reassure people that the assets are there, the reserves are there, it's one-to-one, right? Or over collateralized, and there is no concern whatsoever, because this is not a good look. It's not, especially now when there's so much fear with exchange reserves and assets and stuff like that. That's what we want to see, right? Why? Why do we want to see it? Especially for those of us in Bitcoin, whenever DXY goes down, the dollar loses strength. Guess what happens? Strength goes into Bitcoin, and we see crazy rises for Bitcoin. Also correlates a lot with the 4-year cycle. But if you look at Bitcoin's growth, pretty much all happened during times when DXY started coming down. And Bitcoin's declines all came when DXY started going up. So right now, DXY is coming down. Still not that far down, but it is coming down. 10-year yield is showing it's going down. So all this adding to the fact that things will get better. Things will get better. Just maybe not today, but things will get better. And that is why this is measuring November. And we had one in November measuring October. October was the first glimpse at inflation tapering and slowing down, coming in lower than expected. We also had a PCE reading, which is similar, that came out a few weeks ago that also indicated the same thing. But now we have more confirmation. So that's month to month now, showing that inflation in the U.S. is definitely being slowed down and even coming down. If you're looking at the overall inflation, the CPI number is now down to 7.1%. It was 7.8% last month, okay, in October. So that's a steep drop. And estimates were predicting that CPI would drop to 7.3%. So we came in better, 0.2% lower. Also, as for core inflation, Okay, core inflation did still rise, but still less than expected. Core inflation was supposed to come in at 0.3%. We came in at 0.2%, and that's fantastic as well. So if you're looking at core inflation year over year, it's about 6% versus the 7.1%, right? So these are all fantastic stuff. Yes, inflation is still high. Yes, we're still way higher than a few years ago. But what this means is the crazy rise that we have seen this year is finally seeming like it's finding a top and reversing, right? So this is what is driving markets up today. Okay, but with their declaration today, okay, in their court filing, they did say now they recognize, again, Ethereum is a commodity. Recently, the CFTC chair did some kind of private event at Princeton and said he believes only Bitcoin is commodity. But in this filing, in this court filing today, okay, they stated that Bitcoin, Ether, and Tether and others, I don't know what, they could have just used something besides Tether, but they did. But they recognize Ethereum being a commodity once again, right? So this is positive. This is really positive. The last straw for Gary against Ripple, right? His last line of defense, I believe, is try to declare Ethereum a security. But I don't think it's that simple, because maybe CFTC is pushing back and say, hey, you guys are overstepping. They are not a security. You guys deemed them as a commodity, so they are ours. So that possibly is what's going on. Otherwise, maybe SEC would have declared that already. I don't know. But this is positive news. Okay, we'll take it. This is positive news. So we'll see. We'll see if the CFTC chair changes his mind. Maybe he made a mistake, but you know what? We do need some clarity on this, okay? We can't have Gary just calling everything out as a security and making whatever declarations he wants without any pushback, right? So that's why we want Ripple to win the case, and that's why we want CFTC to fight them too. We need some pushback. We can't have Gary run around as if he's like the king of declaring securities. I don't even know what's a good analogy for that.